It is one of the most calamitous, disastrous and downright woeful teams in Formula One's modern era. A team that has joined an exclusive club of crap teams that failed to qualify for every single Grand Prix they ever entered. This is the story of MasterCard Lola. Now, for those of you who are too young to remember or aren't massive nerds, it's important to remember that Lola is one of the most successful sports car manufacturers of all time. Lolas have taken 3 Indy 500 wins, 7 IndyCar titles, 12 class wins at Le Mans, and 5 American Le Mans Series crowns. They've also built cars for F1 teams in the past, including Graham Hill's Embassy Hill team, Haas, no, not that one, the other one. Yeah, that's the one. And LaRousse. But in the mid-90s, tired of making cars for everybody else, company founder Eric Broadley decided to enter Formula One as a works effort for 1995, having split from Scuderia Italia after a nightmare 1993. Almost immediately, the programme was pushed back a year, the team having run out of money already. Keith Wiggins arrived to spearhead the team after a further delay saw the team plan to enter F1 in 1997. Keith Wiggins was the boss of the ludicrously terrible Pacific team, and the fact he once took more than 25 minutes to open a bottle of champagne more than sums up how that team went. July 1996 came along, and it was decision time on whether to enter Formula One in 1998 or not. This was a sensible time to enter, with a big shake-up of the rules set to reset the field. Entering a year before the rule change, that would be really silly, wouldn't it, Haas? Anyway, Wiggins was sacked, and MasterCard arrived as title sponsor. They heaped a sack of cash into the team. £7 million, no less. With their logo plastered all over the car, MasterCard forming part of the team name, and even the team's livery in full MasterCard colours. And now the team was under real pressure. MasterCard was still relatively new to Formula One, and were keen to get on track ASAP, so the decision was made to enter F1 a year early, in 1997. The car was launched on February the 27th, just 8 days before practice for the season opening race in Melbourne on March the 9th. The car itself had been designed and built in 3 months, but somehow the team remained bullish about their prospects. Eric Broadley even went on record to Autosport magazine, saying, "We build cars in 3 months all the time." That's true. Atari built the E.T. video game in 4 months, and look how well that ended. This, however, isn't a video game with a memory footprint smaller than the script for this video. This was a full-on Formula One car, and it was a complete mess. The car was based on some old IndyCar tech, and the deadline was so short that the car never even saw the inside of a wind tunnel. Now these days, of course, that wouldn't be a problem. Virgin Racing proved that in 2010 and 2011, designing a car purely on computers. 1997, though, was a different time, and a wind tunnel was the place to be. Despite all the odds, though, the team made it to Australia. The car had missed all the official pre-season testing and had only done 8 laps at a sodden Silverstone, hampered by gearbox problems. Reigning Formula 3000 champion Vincenzo Sospiri was hired alongside footwork driver Ricardo Rosset, still yet to score his first point in Formula One, and from here on, things fell to pieces. Now, for those who don't follow Formula One, there's a very important rule that crops up about this point. It's called the 107% rule. It's changed slightly as qualifying formats have been tweaked over the years, but at the time it was nice and simple. It said that every driver's qualifying time must be within 107% of the pole time, or you wouldn't be allowed to start, unless, of course, there was a valid reason like a crash, or a car failure, or just awful weather. So, for example, if the driver on pole position did a lap time of 1 minute 40 seconds, the slowest you could do to start the race would be 1 minute 47 seconds. Simple, eh? Well, I say simple, of course, but for Lola it was anything but. Pole position went to Jacques Villeneuve in his Williams, with a time of 1 minute 29.369. So Lola, who had declared to Autosport their intention to be world champions by 2000, had to beat a time of 1 minute 35.6. Surely that would be easy. They could afford to be 6.3 seconds off the pace and still be allowed to start the race. Surely even a team like Lola could manage that. No, they couldn't. Sospiri clocked a time of 1 minute 40.9, while Rosset, who had prior F1 experience, don't forget, managed 1 minute 42. Instead of 107%, these two managed 113 and 114 between them, and the Lolas weren't allowed to start, to the surprise of no one. Autosport then ran a story on Lola's performance, a pretty scathing one at that, joking that the lap times didn't have a time, they had an expiry date. Heading into race 2 in Brazil, and Eric Broadley admitted that the team weren't expecting much, saying they were basically treating it as a test session, considering they'd done so badly before the season had started, before bizarrely reversing that opinion a fortnight later in Autosport, saying he had no doubt that the team would qualify in Brazil. To cut a long story short, that never happened. The team flew out to Brazil, but MasterCard, enraged by the dismal and farcical showing in Australia, had jumped ship, and the rest of the sponsors had begun to follow suit. The team had somehow managed to amass a £6 million debt already, and the cars never turned a wheel in Brazil. The team collapsed in a sea of chaos and disorder, and stories abound of Sospiri and Rosset finding out in the local newspapers about the demise of their team. So what happened to Lola in the end? Sospiri never raced in Formula 1 again. He hung up his helmet in 2001 and managed the Euronova F3000 team. As for Rosset, he managed to find an F1 seat for 1998 at Tyrrell, where he failed to qualify 5 times throughout the season and was outshone by teammate Toranosuke Takagi. Lola's demise was a perfect example of poor preparation resulting in piss poor performance. Had the people at the top of the team stood up to MasterCard and the other sponsors and stuck with their aim to enter Formula 1 in 1998 when the car had been properly developed and tested, they might have had a fighting chance. But then again, Toyota tested a fully ready car for over a year and would never win a single race in their entire history. Lola then was the last of the truly terrible 90s Formula 1 teams, joining the likes of 40, Simtech and Pacific. And they were embarrassed further by the other new F1 team, Stewart's Grand Prix, which was run properly and also entered Formula 1 in 1997. They, however, had a remarkable debut season, with lead driver Rubens Barrichello scoring a podium in Monaco, before the team was eventually sold to Ford and then some bloke called Dietrich Mateschitz and rebranded as Red Bull or something. It'll never amount to anything. If you enjoyed that video, then be sure to give it that customary like, and of course, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes from this channel. On the screen now are 2 more videos that I think you might enjoy. And I will see you next time.